Alright guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today. For this one, we are going to do another out and about video for you. So today, I'm in Millville in the southern part of New Jersey, and we're going to have a little look at this place behind me. So this is Glasstown Brewing Company, and these guys seem to be quite interesting. Quite a small operation. They've been going for a number of years, about 10 or so from what I gather, but they've got a good variety of different styles. And yeah, hopefully this will make another interesting out and about video. So for this one, we will do as we always do. We'll go in, we'll have a little look around, we'll try some of the different beers, and we'll have a good time. And there will be a special guest in this video as well, who you'll see in just a minute. So I'll catch you guys in just a second. Let's get started. Alright guys, so let's have a little look at this place then. So yeah, as you can see, we're basically in the middle of an airfield, which is kind of random. Now, yeah, this is the brewery building here, Glasstown Brewing Company. Like I say, they've been around for about 10 years or so, and it's, I have to say, it's quite nice. Pretty much every brewery that you'll come across in the US has a little tap room attached, and you can see they've got this lovely kind of veranda just outside. You park your car around the back, and you've got these tables here which are good. But yeah, then the entrance is just here or around the back. So when you come in, you're basically right at the bar, and yeah, when you come in, the brewery is just behind through here. We might get a closer look at that later. We've got some barrels here. You have your bar just over here as well. Good selection, and the entrance to the other side is pretty much right there, and you've got a big ass fan as well to cool you down. So yeah, that's that. We have a special guest, Mr. Paul of PA Brew News. He'll be joining us in a little minute, and you are going to be seeing this beer reviewed in just a second, so stay tuned for that. Alright guys, well, time for our first tasting then here at Glasstown Brewing, and this beer was one that just really had to be picked, and you'll see why. So this is called Better Call Paul. It's a Kolsch coming in at 4.2%, and yeah, so Paul, you'll see, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. It worked! It worked!
Paul here for PA Brew News.
Yeah, it worked. So yeah, so this was the main reason. Normally you would go for a tap pour first, but then there was Better Call Paul. We like Better Call Saul, and then we got Paul.
Hi, I'm here, ready to ruin this channel.
No, we love Paul. We love Paul. The other funny thing about this brewery is that it's in Millville, New Jersey, and Paul is from Millville, Pennsylvania.
There you go.
So that's that.
Two worlds.
Two worlds collide.
Yes.
Two worlds collide. The other weird thing is as well that we have the same birthday, but exactly 10 years apart.
Yes.
16th December.
And
so.
I aged worse. So you're still young and peaked.
I'll see what I look like in 10 years.
Like that.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, as I say, this one is a Kolsch, 4.2% ABV. Yeah, it looks exactly as you'd expect. About a half finger of a frothy, perfect white head when it poured. It's faded away. A little bit of a kind of hazy,
nice hazy, yep.
Yeah, a little bit of a natural blonde haze to it. Not too much in the way of visible carbonation. Yeah, looks as you'd expect for the style, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Aroma. Yes.
Ooh, a little bit of a lemon.
Yeah, no, it's got a little bit of like a kind of zesty thing. Does it? Does it actually have a?
It's like earthy pepperiness, spicy lemon.
Because it says it's got full melon in it, and then lunar crush yeast, sats and hallertau blanc in this one. So that kind of makes sense. The full melon's going to give you that.
That Stars and Hallertau's got a little bit of a pithy lemon grapefruit kind of vibe with that earthiness.
Yeah, no, I mean it's got like a sort of fresh white breadiness to it underneath.
Definitely almost like a saltine crackery kind of white bread.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, fresh fluffy white bread.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Kolsch I had when I was in Bonn.
Oh yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, fruity wise, yeah, we said the lemon, hoppy character is quite fresh, quite floral, bit grassy. And yeah, and it has this really, it almost smells like it's got a wee bit of lemony adjunct to it as well, doesn't it? Yeah.
Well, like a little bit of a sherbet vibe the way they in the back.
Yeah.
Very subtle.
It's interesting. Hallertau Blanc as well is an interesting hop. That usually gives you these it usually gives you this sort of like gooseberry, white green grape. It's almost like Germany's answer to Nelson Sauvin.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Cool melons, interesting. I don't know if I've ever seen that in L1 before.
That's a German hop, I'm pretty sure, about 8%. Yeah, it gives you melon flavours.
Yeah, 4.2 alcohol by volume, so an all-day crusher.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Should we dig into this then?
Absolutely.
All right. Cheers, Magic. Cheers.
Oh yeah, it's got a nice little kick to it.
Oh yeah.
Nice, really nice peppery earthiness.
Oh yeah. Really easy to drink that actually.
Yeah. Light, crackery, bready body, very light, subtle. Oh, there's a little oiliness though.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, bread crust in the base, cracker on top, fluffy white bread. You get the little bit of like pepperiness sitting on top. Maybe like a teeny little bit of like a biscuit, cookie sort of sweetness in the middle of the tongue.
Nice. Oh, that's a nice playful bitterness. That's still kind of wafting around there.
Oh yeah.
Makes you want to get right in. And there's a little bit of minerality there in the background too. It almost tastes hit of a, I wouldn't say saline, but something in there. Just a little hit of something. It definitely makes you want to go whoop, right back.
Oh yeah. This is nice. What I would say as well is on the back third of the palate, you do get a bit more of the yeastiness out of the beer. Like it has got a little bit of a kind of like peppery, farmhousey, bready, woody type note in the yeast.
Yeah, right when the beer kind of thins out a little bit, right near the end, then you get that, now you can start breathing that through.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Not a single bad thing about it.
Yeah. The thing I would say about it is, it's kind of, to me it feels like an American take on the Kolsch, which obviously it is.
It is.
It's not the most, it's not like what you're going to find in Kulm, probably.
Yeah.
But it's good, and that's the main thing.
Yeah.
It's like a, you know, if you think about like these things like West Coast Pilsners, this is like the Kolsch version of that. And for those of you who don't know, the Kolsch as a style, we've said it comes from Kulm in Germany. This is actually an ale style. It's not a lager, but it's a very low temperature fermentation ale. And the technical difference, of course, is that, you know, lagers will ferment between like 8 to 12 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in freedom units, but they use bottom fermenting yeast. Ales use top fermenting yeasts, and they ferment between like 16 to 18 degrees Celsius.
So you're going to be in like the lower 60s versus like the mid 70s. It's going to be a little bit different there.
Yeah. Paul knows his freedom.
But then the other thing is too, it's stored. It actually gets a chance to lager, like a lot of these things. So it kind of cleans itself up with all those like poor harsh flavors you do get if you just try to throw this thing out. And I think it really did clean up real nice.
Yeah. One thing I don't know, I mean here I'm guessing they'll probably be using vertical tanks for it, but in Cone I don't know if they actually use the horizontal lager tanks.
Really?
With these as well. I think they might, but I'm not 100% sure.
I'm pretty sure they use the regular fermentation for this.
Yeah. It'll be quite interesting to know that. We'll need to ask them. But hoppy side of things.
It is a hoppy. It is a nice little hoppy thing. I think the hops are a little bit more prevalent than the malt base, so I wouldn't say it's extremely balanced, but it's close.
Yeah, well, I mean, this beer the German ones would be brewed with Hallertau or Tettnang Mittelfrüh, which is about 4.5% alpha acid. This thing's got it's got Czech Saaz in it, and Czech Saaz is naturally more kind of spicy than German Hallertau. That's one of its things. Pool Melon, I think, is about 8% alpha acid, so it's going to give you more bitterness. And then Hallertau Blanc, I think, is like 11 or 12% alpha acid. That's one of the really new kind of high alpha acid German hops. So yeah, it is naturally going to be a bit more bitter. You get a lot of floral spiciness and quite a bit of grassy zestiness at the front curve of the tongue. Fruity wise,
I'm not getting a lot. I'm getting a little bit of lemon and a hint of grapefruit, but not a lot.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not getting that sherbety vibe that I thought I was getting there. It's cleaner than that. It is like a little bit of a woody tonality in the background from that yeast. I'm missing a little bit of that kind of just crunchable saltine cracker, kind of like almost semi-sweetness. I'm missing a little bit of that because there is a lot of spicy earthiness to this.
Yeah.
But for what it is definitely a slammer.
Oh yeah, easily. I mean, as I say, the thing that for me, if you compare this to what you get in Cool, it's not quite got the kind of creaminess and smoothness you get in the style, but it is very much like a new world take on that old style.
Yeah, I think this would not upset someone who likes a traditional Kolsch. I think they would still be into it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, the fruity side for me, I get a lot of the melon from the whole melon and lots of lemon as well, but you can feel, I think in the aftertaste, you feel a wee bit of that like gooseberry, white green grapey thing from the Hallertau Blanc as well.
I don't get too much of that on mine, but I do get like a sense of that kind of the yeast kind of coming in on this one.
Yeah.
On this can that I had, the yeast is coming out a little bit more on the back end, and it's kind of bringing a little bit of it almost kind of wants to bring a little spice with it as well, not just pepper.
Well, that's a wee bit of sediment just into mine
Exactly,
there, so that's even hazier now.
So yeah, it's a nice unfiltered Kolsch, so it's a Keller, And I think that's where all this flavors, extra stuff's coming from too, which is nice.
See, when you put the sediment in it, it's actually, to me, it's a lot smoother and more bready.
It gets way more breadier, which is nice. Yeah. That's why I really like the unfiltered ones.
Oh yeah, this is good. This is good.
Yeah.
On the mouthfeel, I think we can say, light-bodied, very crisp.
I am still getting almost like a saline kind of vibe in my mouth.
Oh yeah,
it makes me want to drink more of this.
Oh yes, that's you could easily down that 6-pack very, very easily. IBU, I think it's maybe about 25-ish, could be pushing 30 a little bit.
I think it's a little, it's a little higher for the normal.
It's almost got a Pilsner level bitterness to it, which is usually 30.
I would always say high side of a low body, tapering into the low side of the medium body if you have the yeast. If you have the sediment type for the body. Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty cool.
Where you slam this one? I'd slam it an 8 out of 10.
Oh yeah. I think that's fair. Yeah. I mean, within the style, like I said, not the most authentic one, but it's a really, really nice beer. It's like a new world take on the Kolsch, and I like it. I think you could play with this,
especially for enjoyability. It's like nailed it.
Yeah, no, exactly. There's a few hops you could try with this. You could try Nelson Sauvin, you could try Enigma. It's quite a fun idea. I don't think many folk have done that with Kolsch, really. They always.
That's the other thing is, I think we sit on that cusp of, what can't we do with it? Because instead of worrying about what we can do with it, there's still a lot of people that are focusing on what can't we do with it because we don't want to piss people off.
Yeah, no, there is that thing in it. I guess it's it's kind of interesting when people think IPAs. It's like, what can we do with it? But when it comes to the traditional German style, we want authenticity. That's the thing. And I mean, I see that in my reviews as well. When it comes to a German beer, I want authenticity. But this has made me think a little bit. This kind of shows, put some American hops in it and see what it does.
But that's the thing is, now I want to brew a Kolsch and put the Amarillo in it.
I love, Amarillo's.
You know what I mean? I want that orange. I want to see what that orange tastes like in there. Like a slice of orange with my Kolsch now.
No, exactly. Yeah, I think that's a nice place to start off then.
Absolutely.
So we'll round that off. Yeah, so this was the Better Call Paul. We called Paul and he came. And 4.2% Kolsch with Pure Melon, Sats and Hallertau Blanc. So new world take on the Kolsch for sure. But let's leave it at that for this one. I think we're going to do a couple of dark beer tastings later on in the video because Paul loves his dark beers. And I'm going to do a Belgian beer in a little second.
Belgian beer from a Belgian brewery.
American brewery. Yeah. So catch you guys in a second. So guys, just a little quick thing that I forgot to mention in this video was that the guy behind the bar was telling us with this beer they've got some different labels. So you can see that on the 6-pack here. You can see there's the phone box. One phone box looking quite nice. Then you've got the phone box which looks a little bit messed up, and then you've got an old English phone box there. So lots of different types of calling Paul going on here. So that was quite cool. We'll go and put this 6-pack back in the fridge. But that's that. Alright guys, so a little look at the tap list here at Glasstown Brewing. We're here for reference on the 21st of September 2023. So they've got a good variety of different styles. If you start on the top left, there's a Czech Pilsner up there. They've got the Fortescue Fisherman's Ale, which is a golden ale. Then they've got a Belgian Blonde at 8.7%, so it's almost a triple, actually, the nightcap. They've got the Big Breakfast Coffee Maple Porter at 7.2, that sounds quite interesting. They've got the 609 IPA, that's probably named after one of the squadrons that was based here, by the looks of the clouds and stuff. Then yeah, you've got the 856 double IPA, so maybe another squadron that was based here. The Mosaic Man, which is another IPA, the Super C New England IPA, the Stout with No Name, which is a big beast at 10%. Then they've got their Fest beer, which is Fest beer is the Oktoberfest lager, usually blonde and about 6%, a little bit stronger. That one's quite light though at 4%. They've got Clash of the Pumpkins, 6.8% pumpkin ale. Blackberry Scratch, Mango Republic. These are both wheat beers with fruit in them from what I understand. A Walk to Nowhere IPA, the October Lager at 6.5, which is a bit stronger. That's more your Oktoberfest strength. Then the Neon Stars IPA, and they've got a few seltzers and sodas and things in here too. So that's a little roundup of the tap list that was available when we were here on the 21st of September 2023. We've got this beer to have a little look at now, so you'll see that reviewed in just a little second. Alright guys, well, time for tasting number 2 then here at Glasstown Brewing. So for this review we are going to go to a style that I very much enjoy, one that I haven't seen too many examples of over here in the US during my time that I've been here, and yeah, it's a style that we don't get to review all that often on the channel, and that was the main reason that this one caught my eye. So this particular beer is called Nightcap. It comes in at 8.7% ABV. They're describing this one just as like a Belgian blonde. But you know, 8.7% ABV, you're pretty much getting into like triple category there, so maybe we have to describe this one as a Belgian triple, but it could well just be a very strong Belgian blonde. We'll need to see. But yeah, appearance wise it actually looks very similar to some of the beers that you would call American IPA. It's somewhere in the middle of like a New England and a West Coast. You know, it looks a bit more like one of those kind of generic ones that's kind of in the middle, if you like. But yeah, as we know, it's not that style. One or two big bubbles sticking toward the side of the glass, a few little ones going up toward the bottom of the head there. Colour of this one, I think to you guys on the camera it's appearing a little bit more amber, but when we shine the light through it, it's like a kind of rich yellow. And you can see it's got a little bit of natural haze to it, so obviously unfiltered. But yeah, remember the colour of your beer depends on a few things. One, type of malts that you use is going to play a big role. That determines your EBC rating. Length of your wort boil is going to play a role, and the longer you boil the wort, the more the sugars caramelise, and thus you get a darker colour of beer. But any barrel aging that you do or adjuncts you put in will play a role too. When it comes to Belgian beers, very often they will add a little bit of like candy sugar or something like that. That's why the Belgian ales are usually lighter in their mouthfeel, but they just you know, they have a higher alcohol content, and that also explains a little bit of the kind of extra carbonation you get in these too. But yeah, that's everything we need to say about the appearance. Let's look at the aroma and see what we get. Oh yeah, I mean, this one's interesting because it actually smells more like a Belgian wit. It does have a little bit, it smells like somewhere between a Belgian wit, very strong Belgian wit at that, and like an Abbey triple. It really is somewhere in the middle. So in the backbone of the beer, you're obviously getting a bit of that fresh white bready bread crust. There's a little bit of a kind you do get this kind of fluffy fresh mix of like sweet brown bread and white bread, but there's a wee bit of that kind of coriander sort of thing that you'd associate with the Belgian wit. It's a bit of like a clovey spice as well, which is going to be coming from the Belgian yeast. Maybe a little touch peppery, but that's kind of, it's more coriander like than anything else. Clove spice. Yeah, it's really nice. On top of the bready characteristics, and a lot of this will come from the yeast, of course on top of that you're getting some nice like slightly brown sugary notes. There's a wee bit of a kind of sweet caramelly type note in there, although it's maybe more like a kind of honey. There's a wee bit of biscuit. I always say biscuit, like McVitie's digestive biscuits. I think for the Americans watching, you'd probably say more like a kind of cookie note. There's a little bit of that going on in there. there's a wee bit of a kind of woody, crackery sort of thing in the nose as well. On the hoppy side of the beer, yeah, a little bit of smooth earthiness, wee bit of herbal character. Then you have just little touches of like floral aromaticity and grassiness. I don't know if they'll be using American hops in this one. It doesn't. It smells more like Old World hops rather than New World hops. Could be New Zealand, actually. Maybe something like Rakau or something like that. It has that little bit more oily, juicy character to it. But yeah, on the fruity side of things, there's a little bit of a kind of, you've got a little bit of this kind of oily pear. There is a little bit of like banana type note from the yeast, apricot for sure, and then you've got a wee bit of like a kind of fresh green apple coming out of it. So yeah, aroma wise this goes together really well. The more that I smell of it, the more that it leans toward the kind of like a kind of Belgian triple type thing. But at the start it has quite a little bit of like Belgian wit beer character to it as well. Yeah, aroma wise that's very nice. Let's get stuck into this and see what it's all about. So this one is the Nightcap 8.7% ABV. They just call it a Belgian blonde, but somewhere between a triple and a wit beer, I would say. Let's get stuck in. Slange, skål. Yeah, it's like, it's maybe about like 80, 70, yeah, 3/4 triple, 25% wit beer. It's kind of like that. I can see why they just called it Belgian blonde in that case, because it's quite obviously a Belgian style beer, but yeah, it doesn't really fit either of these two style categories. Not that that matters overly much, it's more just, you know, it's just the way the brain thinks when you're talking about beer. But the question should always be, is it a good beer? And the question with this is, yeah, this is pretty solid. So, gets a thumbs up from me. Let's break it down and describe it a bit more in depth. So the backbone of the beer, as you'd expect, is this kind of fresh, brown bready, bread crusty sort of thing. You get a wee bit of there's a little bit like a woody crackery sort of thing further forward on that middle third of your palate. Above the bread crust you get a little bit of like a wholemeal brown bread, a little bit sweeter actually, kind of oily as well. Then you've got the white bread, and in the white bready layer, that's where you get some of the kind of clovey, spicy characters from the yeast coming out. So yeah, both of the bready layers are quite sweet. It's almost like a banana bread, the white bready layer. And as I say, the cloves mixed in there. On top of that, you start to get the brown sugars. So you've got a little bit of a, and there is candied sugar in this one. You can just tell from the flavour. But it has a little bit of a, it's got a nice kind of oily, full mouthfeel to it. So yeah, you've got a little bit of a kind of biscuity, McVitie's digestive sort of thing to it, as I said. Then you've got that oily circle in the middle of your tongue, which is like Werther's Original butter candy, butterscotch in the base. On top you can feel the concentration of the alcohol in the centre of your palate there. And it's got a little bit of a kind of honey note to it in the aftertaste as well. It's nice, it's interesting. You get a wee touch of nuttiness coming out of the thing into the aftertaste too. I think that covers the middle third of your palate, which is where the majority of the complexity is. The back third of your palate's giving you similar characteristics, but they just come out at different intensities, and then you've got the yeastiness. So you've got that same bread crust, you get a bit of a dry, you get a bit of a more dry character out of those. So you get the dry bread crust, the cracker, the lighter brown bready sort of thing in there, then the fluffier, the white bready layer as well, and these two layers are a little bit lighter and more airy. You can feel some of the more dry brown sugary notes creeping over the top of that. Then you've got the yeast, and remember, Belgian beer is quite yeast focused. So the yeasty side of this beer is like a really dense, sweet, white banana bread yeast. You get that really dense thing there. It's got a little bit of an almost like slightly clovey, peppery thing around it, and it's almost like it's wrapped in honeycomb. But yeah, back third of the palate, the flavour's taller, and as you come further forward into the middle third of your tongue, it just condenses down that little bit more. Hoppy side of things, there's not too much to report in this beer. Belgian beers are not the most hop-forward styles. Back corners of the palate, you've got a wee bit of an earthiness in there. As you move further forward, it's a little bit herbal, and as you reach the front corners of your palate, you get a little touch of floral aromaticity, but round the front curve of your tongue, it's a lot wetter, and it's a lot more of a kind of grassy flavour you get. On that front third of your palate, you've got some really nice fruity characters there. So the base of the front third of your palate, you've got a really nice sort of bread crusty note, wholemeal brown bread on top of that. Then you get that oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters roll their way out of the beer. So the fruity esters out of the beer in this one for me, at the back of that front third of your palate, you get like this kind of sultana type note, you know, white raisins. As you move further forward, you get a bit of dry apricot underneath, but then you start to get a lot of oily pear as well. And yeah, there's maybe just a little hint of like a fresh green apple coming out of this one at the front tip of the tongue too. But I think that covers everything we need to say about the flavour. Just to round off then, the mouthfeel of this beer. The mouthfeel of this beer, it's a lovely kind of, it's quite full-bodied, this one. Medium range, full-bodied. Carbonation is lovely and smooth. Quite an oily, slick mouthfeel. IBU's quite low, maybe about 20 IBUs if you're lucky. I wouldn't be surprised if it was 15. Malt base has a bit of dryness underneath, smoothness in the middle, sweetness on the top. Then you've got this lovely oily, fruity character coming out of it. So that goes together really nicely in this one. I think this is an interesting beer, and as I say, this is the first American brewed sort of triple that I've had when I've been over here. Quite different, as I say, it has quite a little bit of wit beer type character for me. Like you do get this kind of coriander type note into the aftertaste. So I think, like I say, 75%, one quarter wit beer, 3/4 triple is probably a good description of this one. But that's a nice beer. This is the Nightcap, 8.7% ABV, our second beer here at Glasstown Brewing. I'll catch you guys in a second with something else. Cheers. Alright guys, well just a very quick look at the merch here at Glasstown Brewing. So you can see, you can get your baseball cap, you can get this kind of shirt here as well. This is what the Crowler is going to look like as well. They've got their Halloween decorations out. But then yeah, they've got these kind of t-shirts in different sizes and things. You've got the shirts with a little pocket on the front of them too. You've got a kind of military camo style baseball hat there as well. But yeah, just a little small bit of merchandise here at Glasstown Brewing. But that's that. A little look at the merch for you.
Hi guys.
Alright guys, so another little collaboration review. This is going to be on my out and about video, and a separate video for Paul.
Oh, Paul PA Brewers, baby. We're going to do it. We're doing a double take, 2 cameras.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
what we have here, we're at Glasstown.
Yep.
Millville, New Jersey. Enjoying some beers. And what do we got now? We got the Big Breakfast coffee maple porter, a 7.2 alcohol by volume.
yeah, I've not had too many porters on my trip over here just now, but yeah, it just kind of caught my eye because I love imperial coffee stouts and things.
Yeah.
Porter just isn't such a popular style in Europe. Like, not so many people are brewing those apart from the kind of traditional English breweries.
Right. Like the London porters and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean the kind of more American style breweries at home in Scotland or across Scandinavia, they're going to brew the big imperial coffee stouts.
Porters are pretty common around here. The one thing that I don't see a lot of, but I do now and again, is Baltic porters, the lager style. And when they usually brew them, they usually brew them pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Which is surprising. They're pretty good.
Well, it's an interesting thing to talk about the porters, because the original porters were about 5%, the London porters. You have the robust porters, which are usually a bit stronger at 7,
8%. And then imperial porters.
Because I would have said Baltic was another one. So because I would have thought Baltic was like 7 point.
And then Baltics, they're technically lagers. because they're lager yeast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which and then I'll tell you what, a 10% malted porter, you're good all day.
Oh yeah.
So that's fun.
All right.
And this is coffee maple.
Yeah.
Porter.
So this looks very nice. I mean,
Nice leg.
it's lovely kind of dark ebony rosewood colour. We kind of split one of these because we're going to do two beers in one.
Yeah, and then we're going to do another brewery too.
Yeah.
So lots more to come.
Exactly. So yeah, we just kind of split like a little pour of this. But yeah, dark ebony rosewood colour, about like a half finger of a frothy kind of fawn coloured head, I would say. Yeah, it's if you put the light through this, yeah, there's nothing coming through that.
Pretty good.
Yeah, nothing coming through this. Not much in the way of visible carbonation. You would expect this of a porter anyway.
Yeah,
this
it
type
sat
of
out a little bit, warmed up, got a little bit of temperature, so it wasn't too cold, so we can get a little bit of those nuanced flavors, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Nose. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. It's really nicely balanced for me. I mean, you get a good mix of the maple syrup, and then the coffee comes out a bit later, I think.
And it almost reminds me of that we got a coffee cake called a pecan swirl. It had that kind of caramel nuttiness, kind of roast, the kind of like baked bread kind of vibe. It has a little bit of that as well.
Oh yeah. I mean, for me, I love coffee beans as an adjunct because they're just as diverse as hops. You know, you've got different soil profiles, water profiles. Then you've got different bean varieties.
Different roasts.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then different. If you grow them at different heights, the maso, the meters above sea level, plays a big role as well.
It is interesting that terroir goes into coffee as well, or tea goes into all that.
Oh yeah. I mean, for me, the coffee bean that you get in this, it's quite an aromatic leaning coffee bean, like quite floral. Paul loves it when I say aromaticity, so there we go. Yeah. But quite a sort of florally aromatic one. There's a bit of like a dainty kind of prune note coming out of the coffee bean, I think, as well. Like it's got a bit of a sultana, dainty.
It reminds me of like a fruit dipped in dark chocolate kind of vibe. Kind of like a roast in there. It has a nice little nuance of that.
And I mean, obviously, the maple syrup is giving you this really heavy brown sugary note out of the beer too.
It actually smells like though you get a lot of aroma, but you don't get a lot of like sticky sweetness coming out. It just has aroma. Like that charred, a little bit burnt sugar caramel mixing in with that maple syrup. Yeah,
I mean, like there's like a little bit of a kind of rye bread crust and a bit of a kind of chocolate brownie underneath this one for me. Yeah, the malt base smells like chocolate brownie.
The burnt rounds of a brownie. Yeah, the charred.
Yeah, the edge on the bacon.
Yeah, exactly.
Hoppy wise, not a lot to the port. Maybe just a little bit of grassiness.
Yeah.
Other than that, maybe some like plum, red fruity notes, but not too much.
I think they went more for just like, here's your base hop addition, because everything else is going to kind of foreshadow it.
Yeah, no, that's it. But it smells lovely.
Let's get into it.
We'll taste this one. Cheers. So, the big breakfast, Slanja.
Thin.
Well, that's what makes it a porter, yeah.
But not sweet. Not overly sweet. There's like nuances of sweetness. There's like a little burnt caramel, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So it's a lot of aroma and more nuance on the flavors.
Yeah. Well, it's got like, for me, roasty bread crust in the base. Yeah. Not really. I was expecting a bit more bread, like rye bready sweetness out of it.
Yeah, no.
It has got a bit of like it's got a little bit of like a fluffy black bread sort of thing, maybe.
It definitely has like kind of like, I wouldn't say sugarless baker's chocolate because there's just a little bit of something in there peering out. But there's chocolate, but it's not milk chocolate. There's a little bit of chocolate coming through with a little bit of that burnt crust coming through. The maple syrup is a nice flavor, but it's not sweet. Like it's a nice aromatic flavor. It's kind of, you're breathing it.
Yeah, it's almost giving you the same effect as like, cognac or bourbon barrel aging.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like it's doing that sort of job rather than being too
That's a good. It almost reminds me of almost like breathing that kind of a CBS.
Oh yeah.
from Founders when it has that barrel. You don't really taste it so much, but you're breathing it out the whole time.
I think though, the malty base for me, bread crust, like a well-fired bread crust, a kind of fluffier, like black bread or something. You can feel there is like a layer of like a toasty caramelly brown sugar in there. The coffee bean sits further back on that back third of the palate, and it's got a little bit of sharpness to it actually. There's a bit more red fruit in the coffee bean flavour. It's still quite aromatic as we thought.
I wonder if that is coming from the hops a little bit of that red bean kind of like that red berry kind of note. That's
I think it
that
will be,
little bit of subtle, like, I wouldn't say cherry, but maybe a currant.
Yeah.
Something in the background.
Yeah.
But I would say there's a little bit of that like nuance of burnt cinnamon, burnt French toast vibe, like the charred French toast kind of a vibe. There is some sweet, some nice nuances coming out.
I actually don't eat French toast that often, so that's a bit new to me. But yeah, I can see kind of where you're going. It has a little bit of like
it's missing that confectionery sugar powder they put on it, but it definitely has that kind of like soft charred breadiness with that maple syrup.
Yeah. I think you get a bit more hoppiness out of this as well.
It's coming on the back.
Yeah. So there's earthy on the sides of the palate, earthiness, herbal character, a little bit floral, a little bit grassy, and like Paul was saying, on that front third of your palate, you do get this little bit of kind of sharper. You get this little bit of like sharper, like raisin, plum, fig out of this beer. Yeah.
That might be coming from the yeast. It might be coming from a little bit of if they use the English yeast, you get a little bit of fruit to it.
Oh yeah.
Might not be all the beans. But there's a subtle something. And there is an earthy hop to this one, bringing a little bit of earthiness to it. I'm assuming there's a little char from the roast. There's char, earthiness, there's a little bit of a peppery, I won't say full copper coin, but there's a minerality.
Oh yeah.
I think it might be even water here, because we are getting close to the sea, so it could be a terroir in that with the ground soil.
Could have been something in that with the coast as well, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. Mouthfeel wise, sticks to the porter quite well.
Yeah, I would say it's a medium to low side of the medium body. Overall.
Yeah, like low end and medium bodied. Carbonation smooth. But it's got a bit of a higher bitterness to this, maybe, well, not overly high, but maybe about 60-ish.
I like the fact that it's a little bit drier because it makes it more drinkable.
Yeah, because you have to talk about perceived bitterness versus calculated bitterness here. I'm getting, I think, about 60-ish.
Really?
Yeah, 50 or 60 IBUs.
Oh, okay.
But it's got quite a bit of dryness as well, so that could be affecting what I'm seeing.
I can say like 40-50, but in that range,
yeah. Fruity wise, a little bit of sharpness to it, a little bit of oiliness. I think that covers everything.
I wish it would be bumped up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Maybe a little bit of like, it needs either a wee bit more kind of sweetness or a wee bit more coffee. It needs to just lean one way a little bit more.
I'd say for me, I would say this is probably just a hair under solid, so it's like the 7 category. Just a hair under, like it's just right there, but not quite.
But the thing is as well, it's quite, I can see why you would say that, because for me, this has a little bit of like English porter type quality to it. And if you talk about an American brewed porter, I always say this, whenever Americans get a hold of the style, they just put it on steroids almost.
Yeah.
This feels a little bit more like a kind of traditional English porter. It just has that little bit more reservedness. Can we call it reservedness?
Reservedness, yeah. Well, now, if it said the full English, and that's what the name of this was, I would say, okay, lemon porter, got it.
Yeah, now, it would fit that, yeah.
But because it says the big breakfast, I don't want a big old sloppy American porter.
I see what you mean.
A little kicked up.
Yeah, this would be like, if you call it the English breakfast, that would
exactly.
That would be a good thing, yeah. Alright, English breakfast, it should be called English breakfast, this one, but then maple syrup is more Canadian.
Well, they're owned by the English.
Well, you guys were at one point, but yeah.
It happens. It happens to everybody.
It happens. Yeah. Are we going to do the other one on the same video, or are we going to stop?
We're going to make another one.
Yeah, alright. Well, we'll leave it at that for this one, and we'll catch you guys in a little second. So, let's press the buttons.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Alright guys, so as you always get in American breweries, they've got a nice selection of cans in the fridge that you can take away with you. So over here, I think these are the kind of more core range beers. But yeah, they've got the 609 IPA in a little sort of 375ml. Then they've got the Better Call Paul, which is their Kolsch. The 609 is in a pint can as well. They've got the Fortescue Fisherman's Ale, which is a sort of golden ale from what I understand. The Glasstown Czech Pilsner, which I think is really nicely presented with the golden lion there. There's the A Walk to Nowhere, which is an IPA. Then they've got the Nightcap, which is their Belgian Blonde. Then if you come over here, there's a few other ones. So they've got the Mango Republic, which is a mango wheat beer. Iced tea lemonade seltzer beer, could be quite interesting. They've got the blackberry scratch, which is like a blackberry wheat ale, blackberry herd wheat ale they're calling it. Hand orange soda, small batch, original recipe. It could be interesting. So it's just hard soda. Sorry, I can't read. Hard grape soda, hard cream soda, and just a few other ones down there. But yeah, over here they've got their Mosaic Man IPA, the Super C New England IPA, the Neon Stars, which I think is another New England IPA. Then they've got the 856 double IPA, the Glasstown Fest beer, which I think is I'm not sure if it's going to be more of a Märzen or whatever. Clash of the Pumpkins, really not for me. I'm not a great fan of not a great fan of pumpkin ales, I have to say. And then they've got the October, it's called. So yeah, really good selection of different styles here at Glasstown Brewing Company. So yeah, there you go. That's your takeaway beers here.
Hi guys.
Alright. James, Rampant Lion Reviews.
Oh, yeah, it is.
On my video, this will be the fourth and final tasting at Glasstown Brewing Company.
Alright. Established in 2013 in Millville, New Jersey. And this is stout with no name. I've been to a brewery with the stout with no name. Alright, and this comes in at a whopping 10% alcohol by volume. So a nice sessionable beer.
Yeah. A Harry Meadows Session Ale.
Exactly.
Yeah, a Harry Meadows Session Ale, this one.
Invigorate some legs.
Yeah. So yeah, lovely dark ebony rosewood colour, as you're always going to get. Yeah, when it came out, it had a sort of half finger of a frothy.
Yeah, it did sit for a little bit.
Yeah, because we did actually split this because Paul has to drive, so yeah, we're just splitting this one to do a little taster of
Always
it.
responsible.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always sometimes.
Yeah, but yeah, lovely dark ebony rosewood colour. Not too much visible carbonation.
No. She did get a chance to warm up to get a better nuance to it, so hopefully now it does have a little bit of more visibility in my glass, but it's just like you said, mahogany, ebony, rosewood.
Black as night, basically.
Yeah, right down the center, no light showing.
Nose, I guess?
Yep.
Ooh, that smells proper old school.
It's roasty.
This is a proper old school RIS.
It's an interesting smell because I'm getting spicy, earthy roast. Boom, boom, boom.
I mean, for me, like, I get this. You know how with some of these old RISs, you get the big oily, like sweaty, high cocoa chocolate. That's what I'm getting out of this one.
I bet you, if you age this a little bit, you're gonna start getting black cherry.
I mean, yeah, for me, the backbone of this beer, roasty, toasty, well-fired bread crust, but not too prominent. Bit of rye bread. The rest of it is like this kind of like sludgy chocolate mud cake sort of note. Wee touch of nuttiness in there.
Oh yeah.
Wee bit of woodiness.
Kind of like that walnut husk kind of thing. Without being barrel aged though, it's got that kind of walnut husk, a little bit of char smoke.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is a strong kind of like spiciness to it, so like an earthy spiciness. I don't know if they threw some of that Hallertauer or something in this, or the Zaws in there just as a backing, but it has a very sharp spiciness in the back.
In American Imperial Stouts, a really popular hop to use is Galena.
Galena, yeah.
And it wouldn't surprise me if that was in here, actually. I mean, for me, On the fruity, you do get a bit of earthy. I want to say there's Galena in here, or maybe like, you know, Tomahawk or something.
Or
like
Warrior.
Oh, that's Warrior is one that I've probably had lots of times, but just haven't thought about in a long time.
Warrior. Magnum.
Magnum, yeah, that would make sense. Magnum and Galena together would make sense in this as well. So it's a bit earthy on the hoppy side of things, a little bit herbal. You do get floral and grassy notes out of this still, I think.
Yeah, I'm getting that for sure. I'm almost getting like a I don't hate to say it, menthol kind of flavor if I really breathe it in, but there is a lot of floral quality hitting my nose right, like hard.
Yeah, so I would say, I can see that, I would say phenol.
No, there you go.
Phenols are the sort of, like medicinal, herbally medicinal cough syrupy type things.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has got a wee bit of hoppy character to it.
I think the ethyl alcohols and the phenols, they're coming through for that 10.
Oh yeah.
They're hitting you right in the nose.
Yeah.
They're bringing all that with it.
Yeah. I do get the sort of treacly note out of it, molasses as it's called in the States. A bit of a leathery brown sugar, so to me, the two things you can do with stouts is you can either give them a longer wort boil or you can double or triple up the mash if you want to. That's the two things you can do to make these beers really complex. Just feeling this in the glass, it feels dense, so double mash wouldn't surprise me. But then again, when I smell it...
That's going to be dictated by the taste too, because if the body's not, then probably not.
Yeah, we'll need to see about that, but I do get quite a bit of leathery brown sugar as well in the nose, and that usually indicates a longer wort boil.
Cool.
Plum, juicy plum, bit of blackcurrant.
I was thinking like blackcurrant, black cherry kind of vibe.
Yeah. See, I've said, cherries I'm not overly familiar with. I very rarely use cherry as a descriptor just because I never really liked cherries before.
Yeah.
But that's just me. And so I always think like sharp blackberry or juicy blackcurrant kind of thing.
I have a feeling like if you age one of these cans or bottles for a while, it would just shine black cherry.
I think it'd be very nice to age this one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it.
Yeah, so the stout with no name, 10% ABV. Slanja.
Cheers. That's a bit thin, but that's a hell of a roast. There's all those hops. They just hit me. It's a very hoppy beer. It's subtle though. It's fruity. It's got that nice spicy earthy floral quality. It's not abrasive.
The thing that strikes me about this is it comes across as a very bready style.
Yeah.
I get a lot of breadiness
Toasted
out of
bread.
this.
That's the one thing about these brewing companies I've noticed. I get a bready, almost sometimes a cereal grain vibe, like a toasted bran almost sometimes. I think I'm getting that a little bit here too.
I think I get the impression, and I've said this in a few of the out and about videos that we've done. I think American grains, you can tell the difference between those and the German ones, and I think generally the American palate is sweeter than the European palate.
Oh, absolutely.
And American malts come across as sweeter, and I think this is an all-American. I think it's an American malt bill in this.
It's probably Grease malt, American chocolate, American Grease.
Yeah. It comes
even American caramel.
Yeah, because it just doesn't have the dryness that you get from. It just doesn't have the dryness and the density that you get from the English Simpsons malts or the German crystals and carafas and stuff like this. Yeah, it's quite interesting. But I mean, yeah, bread crust for me, it's one of these ones that really builds into the aftertaste. Because I like that about your reviews actually, you doing it and you think about you talk about the aftertaste quite a lot. So yeah, roasty, well-fired bread crust in the base, like quite a sort of fluffier, brown, rye bready type flavour, bit of charred chocolate on top of that, maybe a bit of a more, further forward on that middle third of the palate, you get a little more of like a 60-70% cocoa chocolate, brown sugar on top of that. I don't think from the flavour double mash or a particularly long wort boil.
The body's not there either.
That's
it. It is a bit thin. It's not super roasted. I'm going back to that charred bits of a brownie though. Going back to that.
Oh yeah.
A little charred bit of a brown.
In the aftertaste, yeah.
If the body was kicked up a bit and there was a hint of sweetness in there that was a little bit more apparent, or the roast was actually picked up, I think this would be a stonker. I think this would be something.
Put a bit of like oat in it or something like that and just thicken it up a wee bit. Or a bit of wheat as well would do the trick.
Or smoke this. Smoked malts. Could be a smoked stout. I think this would be a great smoked stout.
Yeah. The brown sugary notes, a bit drier and more leathery into the aftertaste, a bit toasty. You do get that little bit of concentrated sweetness in the dead centre of your tongue.
That dissipates pretty quick though, but that char is very apparent. It's not overwhelming, but right behind that char comes this cavalcade of that floral hop. It comes through, and again, not overwhelming. I kind of wish all these beers would shout at me a little bit more. They're not shouting at me as much as I would like a beer to shout at me sometimes. But this one I would consider the most balanced beer we've had so far.
That's fair. Yeah.
Everything works on each other. Pretty, like it seems like one note, even though there's different notes. It just seems like one string of notes rather, instead of different people talking at the same time. You know what I mean? Like it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah, this one's going to be the nicest journey.
Yeah,
of them, if
all the different pitches that are going down. It just seems like everything's cohesive, Joe, and it's working together. So,
but it does seem like these guys are kind of playing around with their recipes a bit more than other breweries might. It does seem like that's what they're doing, I would say.
Yeah, this doesn't seem as textbook as maybe a normal one. I just think we just need to up the body, up the char, and hit it with a little sweetness.
That could work. I think we covered the malty side of the beer. You get a bit of yeastiness out of this one, which is like a more dense brown bready note.
Yeah, I'm really glad there isn't a nuance of banana in this. Sometimes I've been finding a lot of brewing companies, even no matter what style there is, it almost like they have a house yeast that's starting to go bad or stressed or something like that, or they're just using a generic yeast for everything, and you're starting to get that hint of banana no matter what style it is. I'm glad this is in here because it finishes semi-dry and floral, but it doesn't creep up on you then as a different tonality. It stays that way.
I mean, in the you do get a bit of hoppiness out of this too. I mean, earthy at the back, herbal and woody as you come further forward. A little bit floral on the front corners of your tongue, a bit grassy.
You get a little bit of a tannic tonality on the sides of your palate, and that's why it almost seems like that, a little bit of almost a walnut husk nuttiness, because you get that woody tannic tonality mixing with those floral hops.
With this one as well, you get, on the fruity side of things, you get a bit of like a raisiny blackberry sharpness in the beginning. Then you get like a more juicy plum, fig, blackcurrant. It gives you all the flavours you'd expect. I think when you take this beer in at the start, it feels like a really old school, you know, like one of these old, if you go back before all the craft beer wave, if you can call it that, it feels like a really old school. You know what it reminds me of actually? It's Sinebrykoff Imperial Porter from Finland. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit actually. This beer really reminds me of that. It's like one of these really old school imperial styles, and I think it's nice in that. This is, out of the beers we've tried, it's either this one or the Kolsch, I think, that have been my favourite here.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
I like this one because it does have that kind of simplicity to it, but it's that old school, right to it. The Kolsch is actually really nice, and this is really nice. I think I have to go with you on that one.
This is the most authentic out of all of them as well.
The Kolsch was a very nice kind of take on a traditional style. This is a traditional take on a traditional style. It just needs amped up.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think mouthfeel wise, top end and mid-bodied. Yeah, as Paul said, put a bit of oat or a bit of wheat in this just to thicken it out, and I think they're on to a winner with this.
Yeah, and not too much of either, because you don't want to kind of cover those. Sometimes people will go nuts with them, and then you notice you have this note of oat that's kind of covering all those nuances. So even like a special K.
Wheat's probably the better choice.
Yeah, the wheat's a cleaner body filler too.
Yeah.
I mean, you could even use different rice strains to give a clean taste and then bop your body as well. Rice, so
that'd work.
Yeah.
IBU wise, I think it's maybe 70-ish, 80-ish, somewhere in there.
It is a firmly hot beer, but it doesn't showcase it in a way that would be offensive. I think everything's plays very well together.
Fruity-wise, there's a little bit of sharpness to it, a very slight touch of phenol. The malt base roasty underneath, smooth in the middle, bit of a dry sweetness on top.
I think if we had this beer cold, and I think we had it immediately, I think we would have found the ABV more apparent than what it is now. We let this beer breathe, and if you don't, I think it's going to be harder for you to just enjoy it for what it is. You have to let it breathe, get that alpha, the phenols out there, those stuff like that. But after that, it kind of goes down. I don't know. It kind of goes down like a rock. You know what I mean? Boom. Which is funny because it's 10%.
It's interesting, yeah. It's very easy to drink for a 10%.
And I think that's what I mean, is this beer is 10% that doesn't show you it's 10%. I think it should scream at you a little bit more, and I think it would be a pretty high-rated beer after that.
Yeah. A bit more wheat or a bit of carafe or something like that. And this beer's on the winner, yeah. All right.
Or a bit of smoke malt.
Yeah, but we're smoke heads, so anything Rauch, we're both all over.
That's right.
Yeah. I think we can leave it at that for this one.
What do you think, guys? You would just throw in the solid category, 7.5?
That can work. 7.5, 8, yeah.
That's a textbook solid take on the style. I just think it needs a little bit of extra things to make it up.
Yeah, works for me.
Well, it's been Paul.
Alright, and James from RampantLionReviews. This is the end of my 4th tasting on my video, and the end of Paul's video.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Alright.
We'll see you at the next one.
Yep, and I'll catch you guys in a second with something else.
Cheers.
Alright guys, so we got permission to have a little look at the brewery. Apparently in New Jersey, it's required to give a tour if you're asked. Grayson behind the bar was telling me that. So you can see over here, they've got their canning line, and then they've got some sort of 375ml and 473ml cans waiting to go. So yeah, these are the little cans, these are the American pint cans here. But yeah, this is their main brew kit. Apparently they just got this before COVID, and so this is like 10 barrels, so about 1,500 litres per brew. Or 1,600 I guess, it's like 160 litres, 158 I think to be exact, is one American barrel. So it's a two system there. You've got your kind of mash tun on the right hand side here, then you've got your whirlpool on the left, and they've got their big hot water tank here. Now if you come round and go up here, these are all the fermentation vessels, so they've got quite a few, like 10 barrel tanks which match the brew kit, and of course they've got these bigger ones here which look like they might be 20 or 30 barrels even. So yeah, they've got quite a few interesting beers. Like this one kind of caught my eye. I wish this was available, the Black Pilsner. That would have been really nice. Yeah, Czech Pilsner is in this one. Yeah, they've got their kegs here, ready to go, different sizes of course. Then they've got a few of the bright tanks. These ones apparently are used as the bright tanks over here, with the flat bottom, but that's usually how you can tell the tanks with the flat bottom are your bright tanks, where the beer goes and does its last little bit of aging before it goes out. You can see that these ones are the kind of conical type ones where you filter out all the, you sediment all the solids and things like that. But yeah, you can see most of their equipment is it's from ABE, American Brewing Equipment. These guys here. But yeah, that's a little walk around of the brewery facility here, and then obviously you come back to the bar. So yeah, that's it. That's a little look at the brewery here at Glasstown Brewing Company. So let's leave it at that for this little segment. So yeah guys, this is one of the other cool things about Glasstown, is that it's pretty much in one of the kind of outbuildings on this former military airfield. So you can see they've got a museum over there about the airfield's military history, and they've got some nice pieces of kit here. So they've got an old field gun there, army transport, an army ambulance. It's like one of the old airport fire engines as well. We've got the tank here. I thought for a second it was a Sherman, but I don't think that looks. I thought the hatch on the Sherman was a bit different. So any of you guys are watching and military enthusiasts, let me know. But this could well be one of the first Shermans I've seen. But yeah, they've got the cockpit of one of the old DC planes. I'm not sure if that's a C-47, if that's the Dakota. But yeah, they've got a Skyhawk over here, one of the carrier planes. And then yeah, they've got this transport one as well. But yeah, there's a few little businesses have moved into these old airfield buildings, which is pretty cool. But straight ahead up there, that's the brewery building. So yeah, quite a few things for you to come and have a little look at here at Glasstown Brewing, and the Lewis B. Finch Jr. Administration Building over there apparently. So yeah, let's get back to the beers. Alright guys, well that is the end of our time here then at Glasstown Brewing in Millville in New Jersey. So Paul and I had a nice couple of hours here actually. I think we spent about 2 hours or so here in total, and we got some really nice videos for both of our channels, so we were both quite happy. But we started off by trying the Better Call Paul Kolsch, which we just kind of saw and we're like, yeah, we need to do that just because it's funny. And that was quite a nice beer, like a sort of new world take on the old, the old school Kolsch, if you like. So that was a really interesting one actually, one that tested my palate a little bit. Then we had a little look at the Nightcap, the Belgian beer. That was kind of a cross between a triple and a Belgian wit. So I thought that was really interesting too. That one just kind of caught my eye because of the style, and I've not seen too many of those around, to be honest with you. But then we had a little look at their porter, and we also had a little look at one of their imperial stouts, because Paul is a huge fan of the dark beers. But they were all really nice, quite nicely balanced and things like that. Just amp them up a little bit, and I think they're on to a kind of real winner with their stuff. But yeah, really nice brewery. Big shout out to Grayson inside as well, who looked after us. He was really nice, and we got a little walk around of the brewery too. So yeah, I think that's everything we really need to say about Glasstown Brewing Company here in Millville, but definitely cool to kind of stop in at this place and see what it's all about. Cool to see that it's on an old military airfield as well. You don't come across that every day. But yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Check out my social media, check out Paul at PA Brew News as well. I'll put the link to his channel in the video description below, and I'll see you guys again very soon on another out and about video. Slanger just now.